Have Houthi missiles now taken to the skies in direct retaliation after Saudi Arabia's reported strike on Sanaa Airport, turning a single attack into a rapid and dangerous exchange of fire? After warning Riyadh that its actions would not go unanswered, have the Houthis now followed through and launched retaliatory missiles, making good on a threat that Saudi Arabia may have underestimated? Reports are now claiming that 6 missiles were fired toward a Saudi airport in what appears to be a coordinated Houthi salvo designed to match the scale of the earlier Sanaa strike. Loud explosions have reportedly been heard near Abha Airport in Saudi Arabia, as early reports suggest the Houthis have chosen a tit-for-tat target for retaliation. All of this comes directly after the Houthis publicly accused Saudi Arabia of striking Sanaa Airport, framing their missile launches as a justified and proportionate response to what they called an act of aggression. Explosions have rocked Sanaa Airport, but who really carried out this attack and why? With competing claims flying from multiple sides before the smoke has even cleared from the runway, did a US ally deliberately bomb the runway at Sanaa to stop a specific Iranian flight from landing, turning a civilian airstrip into the latest flashpoint in the wider Iran conflict? Reports say Sanaa Airport's runway has been hit right in the middle of an escalating row over Iranian flights into Houthi-controlled territory, adding military force to what had been a diplomatic standoff. The Houthis have directly accused Saudi Arabia of launching the strike on Sanaa Airport, framing the attack as a deliberate act of aggression against Yemeni civilian infrastructure. The Yemeni government, meanwhile, says the runway was deliberately targeted to stop what it called a suspicious aircraft, suggesting the operation was a calculated interdiction rather than a random strike. First visuals from the scene have already gone viral on social media, with footage appearing to show damage to the Sanaa runway and sending shockwaves through audiences following the Yemen conflict. Saudi Arabia has so far stayed silent and issued no comment on the reported Sanaa strike, leaving a conspicuous gap in the public record as accusations continue to mount from Houthi leaders. A confusing fog of claims and counterclaims is now swirling around the reported attack on Sanaa Airport, making it difficult to establish a clear picture of who struck, what was hit and what comes next. Declaring that patience has run out, Yemen's defense minister has issued a sharp warning directed squarely at Tehran. Yemen is now threatening action against any Iranian aircraft it claims violate its airspace, raising fears of another dangerous escalation.
God Almighty said, "Those who fight us say that they are wrong, and that God is able to help them." God Almighty has spoken the truth. The Yemeni armed forces state that they belong to the Yemeni people in particular and to the Yemeni people in general. The Japanese government has tried, in cooperation with the regional and international community, and by all diplomatic and legal means, to convince the Iranian regime and the Houthi revolutionary militias in Sanaa to return to the fight for justice, and not to penetrate the Yemeni airspace with the Iranian planes. This penetration is not the first, but it is different from its predecessor in challenging international legitimacy. At this moment, we are saying we are showing patience, and we will respond appropriately to this aggressive action. We will deal with the Yemeni planes that are penetrating the Yemeni airspace, and by all available means, so that we can teach the enemy a lesson that the judge will hear, and that the coming generations of Yemenis will know. Everyone knows that Yemen has a people and a leadership that is defended by land, sea, and air, regardless of the consequences. We bear the full legal and moral responsibility of the Iranian regime. God is the greatest. We are ashamed of the project of faith and its supporters. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you.
Iran launches a new wave of missiles and drones targeting US military positions across the Middle East, according to Iranian state-linked media. State-linked Iranian outlets report massive retaliatory strikes against US military bases following the latest American attacks. Tehran claims US military bases and naval assets across the region are now under coordinated Iranian attack. Explosions are reported near a US military base in Bahrain, with the Interior Ministry confirming security incidents. Reports claim direct impacts near the US Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain during the latest Iranian operation. Ballistic missiles were reportedly launched from western and central Iran as part of the new wave of attacks. Bahrain activates air raid sirens shortly after Iran launches its latest missile and drone barrage. The Gulf braces for another dangerous escalation as the US-Iran military confrontation continues to intensify. The latest Iranian operation comes after Washington expanded its military strikes across multiple locations inside Iran. US forces expand their military campaign as fresh strikes reportedly hit targets across southern and western Iran. A new wave of attacks is reported across more than a dozen Iranian cities, according to local media reports. Qeshm, Bandar Abbas, Bushehr, Avaz, and Abadan are among the locations reportedly targeted in the latest strikes. Iran International said, and I quote, Escan News Telegram channel reported that the latest wave of attacks targeted a wider range of locations across southern and western Iran than previous strikes. According to the report, the targeted areas include Qeshm, Sirik, Bandar Abbas, Jazd, Bushehr, Kondab, Bandar Mahahar, Baybahan, Andameshk, Desful, Avaz, Abadan and Khorramshahr. The report could not be independently verified, and neither US nor Iranian authorities have immediately confirmed the full scope of the reported attacks. Unquote. After Iran's retaliatory attacks, the US rejects reports claiming American troops were killed in Kuwait. The latest US strikes appear significantly broader in scope than previous waves of attacks, according to emerging reports. A direct US-Iran military confrontation continues to unfold around the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says the strikes are intended to degrade Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. US Central Command said, and I quote, at 5 p.m. ET today, US Central Command forces began launching more strikes against Iran to continue degrading their ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The Commander-in-Chief has directed the strikes to hold Iranian forces accountable. Unquote. CNN reports Iran launched missiles and drones following attacks linked to global shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. US warplanes reportedly intercepted an Iranian cruise missile and shot down an attack drone during the latest escalation. Has Iran just struck Donald Trump where it hurts most? Claiming the lives of 3 US soldiers in what would be the most significant single blow against American forces since the conflict escalated? Reports are now claiming 3 American troops were killed as Iranian missiles slammed into a Kuwait base, a development that could fundamentally change Washington's calculus on how far to push this war. Iran's Fars news agency says ballistic missiles slammed directly into an American military position in Kuwait, describing what it frames as a precise and devastating strike on US soil abroad. Black smoke is visible rising from the site as Kuwait itself confirms material damage from the barrage, lending credibility to claims that the strike caused real and serious destruction. The IRGC reportedly deployed attack drones specifically to strike US HIMARS multiple launch rocket systems, targeting the very weapons Washington has been using to hit Iranian territory. Fars news agency claims that missile systems and weapons depots were destroyed in the drone operation, suggesting Iran is now specifically targeting the infrastructure behind US offensive firepower. Meanwhile, on the Iranian side, state agency IRNA reports that 1 worker was killed in the latest US strikes on Iran, adding to a casualty toll that Tehran is using to justify further retaliation. The state agency said the worker was killed while on duty at a targeted site, with 2 colleagues left wounded in what Iran is describing as another American attack on civilian infrastructure. Are missiles now being reported over Qeshm as fresh explosions rock Iran's south coast, suggesting the Gulf flashpoint is entering a new and more dangerous phase of the conflict? With blasts echoing near the strategic port of Bandar Abbas just hours after the latest Iran-US exchange of fire, is the region hurtling toward a confrontation that cannot easily be walked back? Iran's own state media is now reporting that the enemy launched missiles toward Qeshm Island, a loaded phrase that signals Tehran is treating this as a direct act of war on its territory. Iran's Fars news agency reported mystery explosions east of Bandar Abbas and along Qeshm's shores, adding to a confusing picture where claims and counterclaims are outpacing confirmed facts. US officials told Axios that the strikes hit Iranian missile sites and IRGC boats, framing the operation as a targeted effort to degrade Iran's capacity to threaten Gulf shipping and US forces. After a morning of strikes on both sides, has the Iran-US flashpoint now reached a stage of no return, where every retaliatory volley pulls both sides deeper into a war neither officially declared?